Stay, my friends. Welcome to another slow breath conversation. I'm Jibran, and today I've got someone I'm genuinely excited to talk to. A writer, thinker, and disruptor. Someone who doesn't just question the world but roasts its hypocrisies over an open flame. Noamyrn, welcome.
Sharara, Jibran. I like that. Roast its hypocrisies. I might put that on a t-shirt. Thanks for having me. I'm curious to see where this little philosophical joyride takes us.
Alright, let's kick it off with something that usually makes people either zone out or run. Metaphysics. Most folks hear that word and imagine incense, crystal shops, or some bald dude levitating on a rock. But really, metaphysics is just talking about the stuff that exists beyond what we can touch or measure. So here's my question. How do you approach that kind of thing, when you don't believe in souls or higher powers? Do you think there is something beyond, or is that just human imagination running wild?
Perception is based on external stimuli. That stimulus is absorbed, filtered, and then decoded by the mind. Once we comprehend that data, we respond emotionally, but only based on our perception of reality, not reality itself. That data isn't pure. It's limited to what our physical bodies allow us to process. Just the fact that we're inside these bodies restricts our ability to perceive reality independently. We're not experiencing reality directly, we're experiencing a translation of it. Take something as simple as wind. When it hits my skin, my nerves interpret that as cold, warm, or hot. But that's not the wind, that's my body's interpretation of it. Without this physical avatar, wind would be experienced in an entirely different way. So when we talk about metaphysics, we can't approach it from the assumption that our experience equals truth. We have to begin with the understanding that our perception is a filtered version of something much larger. And once we accept that, the real question becomes, what aspects of reality am I incapable of perceiving because of the limitations of this body? That's where metaphysical inquiry begins.
Yeah, see, that right there is exactly why I wanted to have this convo with you. What you just said, that's not surface level talk. That's pulling the rug out from under what we think is real. You're basically saying, everything we experience is a translation, not the original script. And honestly, that hits. Because in yogic practice, we say the senses are like filters. They don't give you reality, they give you their version of it. I love that you use the wind example. It's such a simple thing, but it exposes the whole illusion. Like, we're walking around acting like our senses are gospel, when really, they're just narrators telling their own biased little stories. So yeah, I get you. You're not denying reality, you're questioning the lens we're forced to look through. That's where the real conversation begins. Okay, switching lanes. Emotions. In yogic stuff, we use the word bhava. Basically, it means the vibe inside you. Emotions aren't just feelings in that sense. They're like little architects quietly building how you move through life. So how do you see emotions in your world? Are they something you try to control, something that controls you, or just background noise you've learned to live with?
Emotions are chemical responses triggered by specific stimuli, whether internal or external, it doesn't matter. They're states that pass through the mind. I can feel sadness, but I am not sadness. I can experience anger, but I am not anger. I may desire something, but I am not desire itself. Emotions are responses, not identities. That's powerful when you really grasp it. Because what that means is, we are the ones experiencing these emotions, not the emotions themselves. We aren't the storm, we're the sky it passes through. And here's the deeper layer. These emotional states aren't even possible without a brain capable of complex cognition, or a body capable of producing the chemicals that allow the emotion to take form. So while emotions can help us connect with the world, they are not the world. They're tools, not the whole machine. To live by them is to mistake the echo for the voice.
Bro, that was clean. Like, real clean. I felt that in my chest. What I love about what you just said is how you separated the feeling from the self. That's something a lot of people never clock. We say, I'm angry. Like anger is who we are, when really it's just a temporary weather system moving through the mind. And that sky and storm analogy? That's gold. In yogic language, we say something similar. You are the witness, not the wave. The emotion happens, but you're the one watching it happen. And you're right, emotions are chemical events. Without the body, there's no sadness to feel, no joy to hold, no anger to burn. They're how the machine speaks, not the voice of the universe itself. So, when you say they're tools and not the whole machine, I get it. That's where a lot of people trip up. They become the emotion instead of observing it. That difference? That's where power lives. A lot of people think spirituality means signing up for a religion, lighting candles, and quoting Rumi on their stories. But honestly, in yogic practice, it's more about experience than belief, breathing, observing, being present. So do you think spirituality can exist for someone who doesn't believe in any higher power? Or does that word just not hit for you at all?
My issue with the word spirituality is pretty simple. It doesn't have a coherent definition. There's no shared testable basis for what a spirit is, or if one even exists. So when someone says, "I'm spiritual," I genuinely don't know what they mean. It could refer to anything: a feeling, a philosophy, a playlist. It's vague. Now, if someone's using the word to describe a sense of interconnectedness between all living things, that I can understand. That's real. I experience that. But where I always diverge is the idea that we're born with some external soul that gets implanted into a physical body. That's not how I see it. I do think people can feel deeply connected to reality, to each other, to the mystery of existence, and not believe in a God. I'm one of them, but I'm very intentional with my language. I don't use terms that tether me to Abrahamic frameworks or metaphysical assumptions I don't agree with. So spirituality, it exists, but it's become a catch-all, and when words lose precision, they stop being useful.
Yeah, that right there is the part that most people are too scared to say out loud. You just went straight for the soft underbelly of the word. I get it, man. Spirituality has turned into this grab bag term where everyone's throwing in whatever they want. Some mean God, some mean vibes, some just mean oat milk and yoga mats. It's like trying to build a bridge on fog. And I respect the precision in what you're saying. You're not rejecting connection. You're rejecting vagueness. You're saying, if we're going to talk about this stuff, let's get clear about what the hell we mean. In yoga too, language matters. We say words are like seeds. Plant the wrong ones and you get weeds. So yeah, I fully get why you'd be cautious about tying yourself to spiritual language that drags a bunch of baggage with it. The way you split connection from belief, that's sharp. A lot of people don't even realize those two can be separate. There's this one line I love: die before you die. Don't freak out. It's not as grim as it sounds. Basically, it means make peace with the fact that everything ends. You stop clinging to stuff, and that weirdly makes life feel fuller. So how do you look at mortality? Does the fact that everything's temporary scare you? Or does it kinda set you free?
I'm not afraid of death. It's a natural occurrence, part of the same rhythm that gives rise to life. What concerns me isn't death itself, but how I die. The process, not the outcome. My relationship with death mirrors my relationship with life. It just is. It happens. I don't resist it. I don't romanticize it. In fact, knowing that this existence has an endpoint makes it more meaningful. The impermanence gives it weight. The fleeting nature of life doesn't make it depressing. It makes living with intention essential. Death isn't a threat. It's a reminder. And if you really understand that, you stop wasting time pretending anything lasts forever.
Yeah, see, that's powerful. You're not out here running from death or trying to dress it up in some mystical poetry. You're looking it dead in the face, no pun intended, and calling it what it is, a fact. I really respect that perspective. A lot of people treat death like this villain waiting at the end of the story, but the way you frame it, it's more like the period at the end of a sentence. Not evil, just inevitable. And that bit about impermanence giving life weight, that's exactly the kind of thing most people miss. Everyone wants forever, but it's the end that makes the middle matter. I also like that you separate death from fear. You're not glorifying it, not denying it, just acknowledging it as part of the rhythm. That's a rare kind of clarity. And last question, we're coming from two very different angles. I'm out here talking breathwork and cosmic vibes, and you're like, nah, let's keep it real. But deep down, both roads kind of lead to the same quiet place. So what does that quiet look like for you? Like, where do you go internally when you want to feel connected to something bigger than the noise?
I retreat into the void, a space of endless possibility where everything that could happen, might happen, or never will exists all at once. The void is alive with potential. It holds infinite paths, some already walked, most never touched. It's there, in that silence, that I become fully myself. No stimuli, no noise, just pure existence, like floating in a black ocean that contains everything. That's where I create. That's where I see entire pieces of prose before they're written. It's where I contemplate not just my thoughts, but the nature of the one who's thinking them. In that space, I'm stripped bare. No ego, no performance, just me as I was born, untouched by influence. And the only thing that gives you access to that space is the truth of who you really are. That's the only currency that matters there.
Damn, that's beautiful, man. The way you talk about the void, it doesn't sound empty at all. It sounds alive. Most people hear void and imagine nothingness. But what you're describing, that's a whole universe before it's even formed. I love how you say it's not just a quiet room in your head. It's a place where everything exists at once. Past, future, unrealized paths, all stacked in silence, waiting. That's poetic as hell. And honestly, the part about having to bring your truth as the only currency, that's deep. Because in that kind of space, you can't fake anything. No mask survives in that kind of stillness. You're not running from reality. You're going to the place underneath it. That's rare. That's sacred. Not in a religious sense, but in the sense that it's yours. Damn, I love this chat. No preaching, no weird agenda. Just real talk between two people who see the world differently. Thank you, Noamyrn, for pulling up and bringing that fire. This is the kind of convo that stays with you long after the mic's off.
Thanks for having me, Jibran. Wishing you a powerful day, stay steady, and go with the light.